Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the #1 sports podcast, broadcasting Sundays at 9 a.m.-ish in Sacramento, California. Sports Talk 916. Now here are your hosts, Greg Bowl and Coach Greg Barroso.
Well, again, it seems like I've done this once before, a little deja vu moment, but I think we sound a lot better this time around. So it is Sunday. It is 9 a.m.-ish, and ish is really late today. But it's time for Sports Talk 916, and my name is Coach Greg, right? I don't know where he is on your screen, but right there. That's where he is for me. That's Mr. Chief Greg Bowl. Together, we're the two-headed monsters of Greg. We call Sports Talk 916, and like I said earlier, and you might not have heard it, nothing happened this week. Nothing happened in our personal lives. Nothing happened in sports. Nothing happened in the world. It was just a really boring fucking week altogether.
Very.
Yeah. So let me ask you again. How was your week?
It was good. Just getting close to baby time. My wife's having another man's baby. If you're new to the show, we have entered into the closing phases of a new house.
Yeah, and according to your post, your lender is amazing, but not much love for your realtor.
I don't think I had a post that said that.
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
Yeah.
I'll have to double back. Or was that Sheena's post that she tagged me in?
Might have been. I don't know. Somebody gave Albert all kinds of love.
Oh, I was sharing one of his posts. It wasn't an indication of how shitty or good you are.
That's the insecure realtor in me coming out.
Right. We'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, so for those of you new to the show, Greg came on board years ago as...
How long has it been? Has it been 4 years?
4 years? 3 years? As our realtor, he helped us get into the home that we're in now twice. And he was very instrumental in the process of getting us into contract on our new home, which we should hopefully close right around Christmas time. So him in combination with Albert Chavez from United Funding, the Mortgage King, we'll hear about a little bit later. It's been an awesome process. So
yeah, no, it has. It's been fun. So
a lot going on there. Like I said, my wife's having a kid for another family. And you're all moved into your new place too, right?
Yeah, so I'm in my new bat cave, and we're probably going to start doing this remote more often. That way we can make 9 a.m.-ish a little bit closer to 9 a.m. than ish.
Right.
And you're soonly in your old bat cave, or you're right now in your soon to be bat cave. And so shall we do it?
Yeah. Should be fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off with Major League Baseball talk. Lots of talk going on. Lots of stuff swirling around the Bay Area. So there's some little things happening, and then there's some big things happening. And Barn Bomb's actually on this week, so it's perfect that we're going to talk about that as the big thing. But first, every week we've talked about the Giants and rumors and everything swirling around this team. And the big talk of the offseason is Madison Bumgarner available? Is he not? Are they going to trade him? Are they going to keep him? And, that aside from all the Bryce Harper rumors, right? Well, this week the Giants announced, or I shouldn't say they announced, but there was rumors that came out from sources outside of James just said the great trade by the Mariners. I'm not sure I saw this. That's the Yankees trade. Outside of the Giants organization, basically came out and said Bumgarner's on the trade block. There's a lot of teams interested in him, including the Phillies. And then sources close to the team and inside the Bay Area basically said that the Giants are unlikely to move Madison Bumgarner. And if they're unlikely to move him, then there's a good chance that they're just going to lock him up for the future and use him as the anchor and then just build up young talent around them, which I'm not necessarily opposed to.
Which that's been my whole point the whole time we've been saying this is you don't trade an ace like that. It never works out for the team that trades him away.
So the trade with that James just mentioned, the Seattle Mariners trade Edwin Diaz and Robinson Cano to the New York Mets. So Cano's back in New York, but not with the Yankees.
Has that gone through yet? Has that gone through, or was it just talk?
It looks like it went through. Robinson Cano, Edwin Diaz traded to Mets for Jay Bruce, Anthony Swarzak, and prospects.
No, I didn't hear that.
So definitely a good move by Seattle to get rid of that contract. They included $20 million in the deal as well. But a lot of talk about Bumgarner. I think it's a great idea to lock him up and keep him in town. The other thing, and it kind of falls in like what you said, it's something you've been saying this whole time, right? You don't get rid of him. We don't throw him away. But the Giants did make a couple of non-tender moves this week. One that I'd like if the foreshadowing leads to realism, and one that I'm not really fond of. And if you would have asked me this at the start of last season, I would have said it's a great move by the Giants. But the Giants put a non-tender tag on Gorky Hernandez, which ultimately proves he'll be out the door, which I'm not sure that I'm a big fan of, given the season he had last year and how thin the Giants' outfield is. And I know you weren't big on Gorky to start the season either, but I think he turned.
I came around too, big time on him.
Yeah, I think he kind of turned his perception around on everybody. But the other one that I'm not really a fan of, unless the foreshadowing becomes reality, is Hunter Strickland was given the non-tender tag as well, which means Hunter Strickland more likely than not will not be a San Francisco Giant next year. You got to imagine that when he's right, he's appealing to quite a few ball clubs in Major League Baseball. Now, when he's off, you kind of hide from him. But TJ just hit it on the head. If you're not bringing in if you're not bringing in Hunter Strickland, there's only one name that means you could be hoping to bring in, and that's the one guy that Bryce Harper seems to have problems with on the Giants organization. That is Hunter Strickland. Does this mean that the Giants potentially could be all in on the idea of Bryce Harper? This is just their way of saying, look, we're going to make a run at you. You don't have to worry about the one guy in Major League Baseball that you're not a big fan of, who you've actually come to blows with. He's gone. We're putting all our chips in your basket, or do you think it's just a cheap money-saving move on the Giants' part?
Like James just said, Strickland is making $2.5 million. It's not about money. It's not about anything at all, other than let's get rid of you so that Bryce Harper can come here and not have to look over his shoulder every days in the locker room. I mean, and I don't think that would be a problem because guys get in fights all the time and then they get traded to other teams. So I don't think that's a big deal, but I think it's a good way to tell Harper that, hey, we want you and we're going to clear a path for you. That's the only thing I can see, because for $2.5 million, Strickland was worth the money, and he was filling a good role. And that means I think the other thing it means is they feel really good about Melanson coming back and being effective. And God, who's the other guy that I can't remember names now. Who was the other guy that filled in for Melanson and Strickland when he was gone?
Wasn't Dyson? It was the other guy.
Yeah,
TJ. Will Smith filled in a little bit.
Will Smith. That's who I was thinking. Will Smith. So they have to feel that between Melanson and Will Smith, that Strickland is expendable. And I mean, that's the only other thing I can think of, because like James said, $2.5 million for Strickland isn't going to make any difference on whether you get Harper in here or not.
No, not at all. I mean, you're going to be spending the money on Harper regardless if you bring him in. And I think it's just a way of showing, it may be a way of showing Harper and his agent too, look, we have young pieces that we've developed, and we're willing to cut ties with those young pieces of our own growth and show you guys, like, look, you're important to us. We're willing to make a move, regardless if we wanted to or not. We're just foreshadowing that, we're predicting that you don't want him to be a part of the team. And we're going to take out that tough part in possible negotiations. Says, look, I'm interested, but I don't want to play with this guy or that guy or whatever. So I'm good with it. Winter meetings should be starting up here soon. A lot of trades are already happening. A lot of signings have already started. It's going to be an interesting offseason. I think a lot of the small moves have began, like Brian McCann's back in Atlanta. You just got the Robinson Cano trade. There's a couple other guys that have signed, but nothing's going to happen until the Bryce Harper chip drops.
Right. So let me ask you this: the no tender or no tender tag, does that just mean we're not going to offer you a contract, or does that mean we're cutting you, or do you know exactly what that means?
So my understanding of it is it's basically a way of telling other teams we're not going to go ahead and put a tender on him. You can go ahead and make an offer that there's no concern of us coming in and matching or whatever. Let me look it up and see if I can get the actual verbiage of what that means. What is non-tendered? When a club non-tenders a player, it declines to give that player a contract for the upcoming season, thereby immediately making him a free agent.
Oh, wow.
Players in the 40-man roster with fewer than 6 years of Major League service time must be tendered contracts each offseason by a set deadline, typically a date early in December, or non-tendered and released to the free agent pool. So, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's basically just saying, look, we're not going to have any connection to him. If you want to make an offer, go for it. We're not going to match.
Basically, he's a free agent. You're now a free agent.
You are now a complete free agent. James says, D-Rod, it should be D-Rod, Derek Rodriguez, and Mad Bum in the rotation. Who else with Cueto and Shark hurt? You got to imagine that Cueto is obviously out. Samardzija could be back. He can be a 4 or 5 guy.
And as a 4 or 5 guy, he eats up innings, and that's what you want. I mean, a 4 or 5, your fifth starter's not going to win 20 games. He's not going to win double-digit games. If he wins 10 games, that's a great year for a fifth starter, and he's going to eat up innings and save your bullpen. So,
and who was the other? So we had Rodriguez. The other, Andy Suarez can come in and be can be the 4 guy. There's still some arms down in Sacramento that could make a name for themselves. There's still free agency too. There's still a lot of pitchers available. But you got to imagine it's going to be Bumgarner and Derek Rodriguez at the top of the list, and then from there you kind of move down and see who kind of fills in, and you see what kind of spring people have. Bochy's good usually at finding the right guys to fit the right hole, and
we have a whole new person running the front office, so we don't know what his philosophy is. We don't know what he's going to do. That's what we're going to see over these winter meetings is what's the new front office going to do, and how are they going to attack getting new players? And it's going to be different than what it's been.
Right. And Mike Barnbaum, speaking of trades, or at least a trade of a different variety in AAA Las Vegas, is going to trade the 51's name for another name December 8th. If you really care about the AAA baseball team of the Oakland Athletics, you're looking at potentially the Aviators. That's the leading name at the guess, but for now that's not official. So we'll have
for the Las Vegas team.
Yeah.
Okay.
In other news, the A's are making noise. They finally, at least in the press, have done something proper. They announced Howard's Terminal as the new location and the plan for their quote-unquote jewel box stadium. It's out on the waterfront. It's going to be surrounded by skyscrapers and different buildings. The winter meetings are this month, Mike. They should keep the 51 CG. I agree. So on the water. Let's see. let's go back a second. Joe Densberger, would you trade Bum to the Yankees for Stanton if the Yankees were to go after Bryce Harper?
Ooh.
Sorry, Mike. We're going to come right back to A's talk. That's a great question. Veroza, I'll let you take that one first.
Man, I go back to, I'd love to have Stanton. I think he would be great. I don't think AT&T Park could hold him. But man,
we've seen that.
Yeah, to trade Bumgarner, I don't know. Again, I just don't think you don't trade an ace away. It just never works for the trading team, and I'm going to stick to that. So, that's a good one, Joe.
The only way that I say yes is if the Yankees also throw in their maybe not their number one, but maybe their number two top pitching prospect. If he's one that's climbing the ladder in the farm system, and he's on that must-see AAA player radar of everyone that's just literally waiting for him to get the call up so that, the media rushes to Yankee Stadium, then possibly. But, I mean, if you think about it, you trade Bumgarner, because James said it earlier. He said, do you give $30+ million to Bumgarner and to Harper? If you get rid of Bumgarner and you bring in Stanton, he makes a lot less money than number one got traded to Seattle. Okay, so you give me the next best guy. Do you spend less money on Stanton than you do on Harper? You get a lot less attitude. You get a lot less potential drama. But that frees up Bumgarner's contract that they would proverbially give him. If they're going to keep him, they're most likely going to extend him. You save that 25 or 27 million or whatever it is, and you go after another pitcher, or you wait and see if Bumgarner, how loyal he is to San Francisco. He may not sign an extension with the Yankees, and then maybe you go out and try to bring him back in.
So if I'm going to trade Bumgarner, that's the only way I do it. Is I have to get a number one piece. I have to get a franchise player. I can't trade him for a whole bunch of prospects because prospects are hit and miss. I mean, I've seen the number one prospect in you name a team, and he never plays out in the big league. So the only way I'm trading Bumgarner is if it's for somebody like Stanton.
It's got to be Stanton, or Judge. Give me one of them.
Yeah,
you know what?
absolutely.
Give me one of your bats, because you don't need all three of them if you're going to go after Bryce Harper.
And I'd love to have Judge. Judge would be a great fit for San Francisco with his local ties too.
Right. So I mean, there's a lot to it. I mean, and like I said, I mean, a lot of the Bumgarner talk was teams are hesitant to trade for him because of how loyal he is to San Francisco, and they're afraid that, and this is obviously an indication that a lot of media listens to us, is they're afraid that Bumgarner may hold off signing an extension until after the year. And they're worried about, at least the rumors are that they're worried about giving up too much, because Bumgarner may turn around and just go right back to San Francisco on another deal in the offseason, and then they're out him and prospects. And that's what we've been talking about. Let's have a handshake agreement. Let's let him in. So definitely great question, Joe. My answer, and I guess Greg's is the same, as long as it brings in a valuable, or it can't even be valuable. It has to be that cornerstone piece to bring in for Madison Bumgarner. Otherwise, you let the season run out. And if he goes back to Mad Bum form and you don't trade him, then you extend him. And if he's at the midway point and he's just doing okay and he doesn't show that signs of dominance, then you go ahead and you trade him for those prospects in the middle of the season, and you hope that maybe he comes back, or you hope that you hit a home run with the prospect. Yeah.
Hey, way to contribute, Joe. First time out, much better than Heinz. Joe, you're welcome to contribute anytime you want.
I guess that's one of your buddies there.
Yeah, we all went to high school together. So
nice. Let's see. Back to A's talk. So Barnbaum says, as far as the new stadium situation goes, Howard Terminal sits due north of Jack London Square. Jack London Square includes an Amtrak station, which is easily accessible from locations throughout California, like Bakersfield, blah, 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 blah. I will say this before we get into the details of this stadium. You got to give the Oakland Athletics credit because they love to tie in public transportation to make it accessible for their 15 fans to make it to the game. And I'm super proud of that.
For their biggest fan, because he doesn't have a car.
Right. I mean, they're like, fuck, Barn Bomb needs to get here. All right, you know what? We're going to go ahead and put in a why do you keep insulting 25% of our audience, you dick?
Because it's fun. And he's one of the few that can take it, and then he starts getting all softy on us, so he can take it.
Right. James,
he's a big boy.
I appreciate you. I do. So Howard Terminal, the Jewel Box Stadium, they're calling it. It's going to be right there out on the water. They're going to have housing and building, business parks wrapping the stadium. The photos of it, the renderings look amazing.
Yeah, they do.
100% private funded. The mayor, based on what I've seen from Mike Barnbaum on Twitter, the mayor has already come out and said, we need to support this. We need to fast track this. We need to make sure that this gets done. And they're going to basically do a lot like what Sacramento did and do a lot of streamlining of the process in order to get the ground broken and get this thing built. My big concern, and it doesn't surprise me for the fact that it's Oakland and they've had historically poor attendance.
That's my only problem. That's my only problem with the ratings.
34,000 seat stadium. It's going to be the smallest ballpark in Major League Baseball by a long shot. And to me, that's almost like they're waving the white flag. We know our fans aren't going to come. Let's just make sure it's a small ballpark. But what happens if 34,000 people still only average 20? How much? Does that look worse to you? No, James, it will be the smallest ballpark in baseball. I'm pulling it up right now. Does that look worse? So does the Coliseum with 65,000 plus because of baseball or a football stadium with 20,000 look worse than a 34,000 seat stadium with 20,000 because of how small it is, like the footprint? Do you think that like the baseball stadium would look like fans aren't supporting it, whereas the football stadium, it's like, this place is just too big. It's not built for baseball. This is the best they can do. Like, what looks worse to you?
Being in the monstrosity they're in now. I mean, that thing is just a dinosaur, and it needs to go. And I think part of the reason the Giants average 41,000 game after game after game, year after year, is not just baseball. It's the stadium. And I think that might give Oakland a little bump. I still don't think they're going to sell it out every night or average 2 million people a year. But I think that it'll give you a little bit of a bump. And hopefully with the other things that they're going to build around it, give them some money.
I'm right. Or sorry, James. The Trop does hold 31,000 and some change. So you guys are right. So it'll be the second smallest stadium in baseball.
Yeah. So, but if they take the Giants model and put some condos in there and put some other things where they can generate money, then maybe it'll help them generate some money so they get more players in there.
What's up, Albert?
And some better quality players and afford to pay them, and better players. And we've seen it when the A's are playing well. They average 25 people in the stands.
25 was right. I think you're right. They average 25.
Yeah, instead of the 15 that they average when they suck. So, you get some free agents in there with some money and hold on to the players that you have. It'll be fine. And I think 34,000 seats is perfect.
Yeah, so Tropicana Field holds 31,042. That's the smallest in Major League Baseball. Right now, Progressive Field, the new stadium that the Cleveland Indians play in, they're newer, I should say, holds 35,000. So the A's, the reports say 34. I've seen as low as 32. That puts them at second lowest in Major League Baseball when it comes to available seats. Just to compare that, right now, the Coliseum is 7th in Major League Baseball with size at 47,140. 170, sorry.
Now I wonder if that's with the
that's got to be with the
third
tarp
tax.
because that's a 60,000 seat football stadium.
Yeah.
Dodger Stadium is the biggest in baseball with its 5 decks or whatever the hell it has at 56,000 seats. Yankee Stadium 52, Coors Field 49. The Giants AT&T Park comes in at 16th at 41,915. The difference is the Giants sell that out every single game.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing. This quote came in from Bill Heffernan. He's been on here forever. But he says, I'm a huge A's fan, and I won't even pretend to get excited until work begins, and then even then I'm still going to be nervous when it comes to the stadium being built because it falls under the same umbrella of Oakland. It's like, can you really get it done? We've been told it's like the Maloofs. We're going to get a stadium or an arena. Nope. Another arena. Nope. And it's like, okay, eventually, like, I'll believe it when I see it kind of deal. Do you think that's kind of the general vibe around Oakland, or do you think Libby and those guys down there finally fixed it?
It has to be. I mean, it has to be that vibe. If there's any city that you could compare the struggles that Sacramento has gone through, it's Oakland. I mean, they're constantly losing teams. They're losing the Warriors. They're losing the Raiders. They don't have the groundswell of fan support and community energy to try to get it and want to get it. But yeah, that fan base has been jacked around for years, and they have every right to feel that way. And I would agree. The good thing is, if it's got a much better chance now of happening since it's going to be privately funded. If they were going to rely on any kind of public funding to do it, there's no way that Oakland could pay for. They can't even pay for Little League fields, let alone pay for a multi-million-dollar stadium.
Speaking of Little League fields, that's actually one of the things that they're going to be doing in this proposal is they're going to tear down the Coliseum. They're going to put in a amphitheater style park and surrounding area around a multi-use smaller baseball field to allow different aspects of Oakland to be used at that site. And they're going to go ahead and it's a reuse project while keeping Oracle in its current configuration for concerts and different venues as well. So it's a multi-use agreement with the city of Oakland to repurpose the Coliseum site as well, which I think is great.
Yeah.
Let's see. Barn Bomb. At this moment, the Howard Terminal Ballpark site is under a 270-day California Environmental Quality Act review. The last day of this falls on Monday, October 26th of 2019. So that puts, if the environmental review ends in 2019, that puts it at a 2022 ballpark. Can the A's survive in the Coliseum for another 4 years? Or is there light at the end of the tunnel at that point? Like, look, it's coming up. We can see it being built. There's hope. Stick with us. And maybe once the Howard Terminal site starts going vertical, A's fans start to see that hope and maybe start to come back in and support the team because they actually see something happening. That's at least my hope. We talk shit about the A's all the time, but I would love to see another ballpark. They're following the right mold. AT&T Park is by far one of the best, if not the best, fan experiences in baseball when it comes to sightlines and just the overall experience. You don't even have to be a baseball fan to enjoy AT&T Park. Yeah. And I think the A's are making the right decision in order to go that route. So I hope for A's fans that it gets the right traction that it needs.
And the other thing, again, that's going to keep Oakland fans a little on edge is right here in Sacramento. And I think we've talked about this years ago, is the baseball stadium that they're going to build next to Arco.
Right.
It has the footings for the dugouts. It has the footings for the stadium. And if you walk out in that field, it's still there, but it never got past anything. And I remember that when they started doing that, there was a lot of excitement, and then it just kind of disappeared. So I have a feeling that's what Oakland fans are worried about, is something like that happening. So even if it does start to go vertical, there's going to have to be a huge commitment made to those fans and to that team to get them to want to stay.
Based on Mike Barnbaum, opening day at the Mike Barnbaum baseball facility will be in 2023.
The Mike Barnbaum Amtrak Stadium.
Right. Exactly. That's what it's going to be. Guys, Ernest Paul Wong is live with us. He, like me, is a diehard A's fan. Yep, definitely a diehard A's fan. And riding high on, we're not talking football yet, but Paul's Cowboys stuck into the Saints, which no one on our pick'em pool this week had. So we'll get to that. So who would have thought the Cowboys would be leading that division at this point of the season and make it a run for the playoffs? We'll get to that too, because the Raiders, we have Raider talk, surrounds the Cowboys and the Bears and the Raiders. And the Cowboy fans all say thank you. I don't think in my life I've ever said thank you to a Cowboy fan or the Cowboys organization, but thank you to the Cowboys organization for sticking it to the Raiders and help cementing our argument that John Gruden is an idiot. So we'll get to that here in a little bit. First, we're going to pay a bill, and then we're going to get into what's next. NBA talk. We're going to talk a little bit about the Sacramento Kings, and their fans are back at it. They're going back off the rocker a little bit after now an 11-10 start. So we'll be right back. Well, actually, we're not going anywhere. I'm going to read off something from Albert Chavez, who is the Mortgage King. I mentioned earlier today that with the help of Albert and Greg, we're in contract for a new home. It's a nice. I don't even know if nice is the word. It's a very nice new establishment that's going to allow us to expand on our needs and whatever. But Albert has been instrumental for me throughout the whole process. He helped us get into this house. He's helping us get into the new house. And there's a huge announcements coming from United Wholesale Lending, where Albert Chavez, the Mortgage King, currently works. They are honoring the new increased loan limits that are effective now, even through the FHA, or even though the FHA announced that the conforming loan limits will be increasing starting January of 2019. They are able to submit and close high balance loans now without the need to wait until January. New conventional loan limits from $453,100 have been increased to $484,350 and up. New conventional high balance loan limits from $679,000 up to $726,000 and up. So don't wait for the new year to qualify. More of your buyers are conforming loans. We can start locking in rates and submitting today and close before the holidays. So if you've seen that and you're like, yes, I'm going to be a first-time home buyer, or I'm going to go through the FHA loan, but I got to wait till January 1st. You don't. You can call Albert Chavez today, 916-230-1537. Get that ball rolling, because his company, United Wholesale Lending, and the Mortgage King are starting to lock those in early so that you can be ready for the new year. So give him a call. Albert Chavez, 916-230-1537.
And so basically for the real person that doesn't understand all that gobbledygook, it means that you can qualify easier for higher rates or higher amounts than you can in the past. And those limits are set up. And once you hit that limit, you have to move to a different loan that might be harder to qualify for. So Albert's the man. He does a great job. I work with a lot of lenders, and he really cares about the people he works with. He works fast, and really, from my end of it, getting qualified and getting things closed quickly is just, you can't beat it. If I can go in and tell the seller that, hey, we have an equal offer to everybody else, but I can get your money in 21 days as opposed to 30 or 45. It's that much better for my clients. So working with somebody like Albert, who can get things done fast, is going to do nothing but help you out in the long run. And TJ, give me a call. I saw you earlier. You want to buy a house? Let's get it done.
Steve Cropper says, great. One less person to help me when the postman screws up. The neighborhood is not what it used to be. That reference is, I was out mowing the lawn one day, and I was getting ready to make a pass right up by my fence, and there was a package sitting on my grass from the beautiful U.S. Postal Service that dropped it on the lawn. I looked it up. It was half a block away. It was addressed to Steve Cropper. So I thought, yeah, you know what? Someone else in the neighborhood may just keep it. I'm going to go ahead and walk it down to him and see exactly what it was. Walked it around. He was sitting out front waiting for the said package because he knew he couldn't risk losing it or whatever. And it turned out to be a signed San Jose Sharks puck. Shocking if you've seen Steve anywhere. And it was about 3 feet away from being lawn mowed. So that's how we came across Steve and everything like that. So, but yeah, call Albert, call Greg if you need a home. We'll get to Greg here in a little bit as well, but definitely the right way to go. So NBA talk, lots going on in the NBA. But like I said, Kings fans are kind of back on it. They're kind of back on their I don't know, bitch train, if you want to call it. Like, how do you want to call that? Because you know,
I don't think that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so the Kings were like what? They were 10-7 at one point, or 10-8, and everyone's riding high. Then we lose 3 in a row, so they made it 10-10. So they were 10-7, riding high. Everyone's talking about them, and then all of a sudden they lose 3 in a row, which is expected to happen. I mean, they lose to Golden State, then they got killed by 2 more teams, and the wheels fell off in Sacramento, and it was ridiculous. Willie sucks. Bogey sucks. Bogey's overrated. Do we need to trade him? We need to go make a trade for Otto Porter. We need to do this. We need to do that. And then
we need to sign Carmelo.
Yeah, sign this guy, sign that guy. Then they win a game last night against Indiana, who without Victor Oladipo, probably we should have won that game by 15, not by 1. But everyone's back on it. Oh, everything's great. We love this team. Look, Willie played 34 minutes and had 17 points and 13 boards. This is the Willie we want. And what the fuck? Like, I don't get this fan base. Like, this team is not supposed to be 11-10.
No.
Any game around plus or minus 2 at 500 right now, we should be planning parades, not talking about trading everybody. De'Aaron Fox is 7th in the league in assists. He's not shooting the ball well at all, but he's facilitating. He's doing great. You got, we had no Marvin Bagley last night. Bagley's coming into his own. You have Bogdanovic, who's still working his way back. Kosta Koufis is working his way back. But there was talks like, why the hell is Bogey playing so much and Yogi Ferrell's riding the bench? Why?
And don't forget the we should have drafted Doncic instead of.
Don't even get me started on the Doncic post. But fucking calm down. This team is playing above anything that they should be doing, and they're playing good. And you don't break this team up. And there's talks about Otto Porter. The Wizards have come out and said that Otto Porter's not available. Kings fans are like, no, they said they're blowing it up. Everyone's available. It couldn't have changed. Like, they couldn't have looked at it and go, you know what, we're going to move Bradley Beal and we're going to move John Wall. Let's keep Otto Porter. And then Carmichael Dave put out a thing earlier this week. It said someone tweeted him with the Otto Porter rumor and was like, why the fuck would you pay $25 million for a guy like Otto Porter? He only scores 7 points a game. Does the Kings have trouble scoring right now? Because last time I checked, they score the ball at will. They don't play defense. Otto Porter is a lockdown small forward. His defensive numbers alone without scoring, but plus his rebounding and his steals, he's worth $22 to $25 million in today's NBA. You don't have to put up 30 points a game to average $25 million a year. Kings fans are in this little fucking bubble, and it's ridiculous. Like, man, I don't know. I'm all over right now, but you don't trade key pieces. Someone said, is Bogey overrated? Should we sign him or trade him because he doesn't fit with this unit? He's fitting just fine off the bench. The bench slows the ball game down, and he's capable of moving the ball. He's capable of getting up and running. Sure, he's not De'Aaron Fox, but he facilitates just as good. And there's talks, a story came out earlier this week that Dave Yeager is going to start using Bogey as the backup point guard instead of Frank Mason. Like, what? Exactly, Mike. Last time I checked, Otto Porter's available for defense, not for scoring. Mike just hit it right on the head.
Wow. Go Barn Bomb.
Bingo.
I don't, man. It's what the fuck is wrong with Kings fans?
I figured this out. I was driving yesterday and I was thinking about this and I figured it out. The Kings fans don't know what to do. They're so used, unless they're feeling miserable and complaining about something, they aren't happy as fans. They have to be bitching about something. And it's obvious because, like you said, we should be planning parades, not talking about breaking up the team or firing the coach or anything like that. Kings fans don't know what to do. They're so used to bitching about everybody and talking about we need to trade this guy and that guy because the team is so bad that once we start getting good, they don't understand what they're supposed to do as fans. And I think they just think that that's the way it's supposed to be, that's what fans do. And they just have to get, we talked about this when I first started, that how uneducated, how naive, how backwoods Kings fans or Sacramento sports fans are in general. We're not a low level, but we're a just not experienced group of fans. And I think that's what you're seeing right now is they just don't know what to do. They just plain don't know what to do.
Well, and what the Kings fans need to do is they keep talking about this like banding together, right? Let's band together. Let's keep the unity. Let's not get rid of people. Why don't we band together with Coach Yeager and this squad? And instead of talking about getting rid of Willie and getting rid of this guy and getting rid of this guy, why don't Kings fans start making noise about getting rid of Brandon Williams? Because Brandon Williams right now is causing more trouble than losing games by 20 points is or coming back and winning the next game. Even Justin Jackson's playing better than he was 2 weeks ago, but everyone wants to get rid of him too. Let's focus all of our efforts on the snake in the grass. That's made famous by DeMarcus Cousins, right? George Karl was a snake in the grass. And the second that DeMarcus Cousins started tweeting about that, Kings fans flipped. And it was, players aren't happy with this guy. We want him out. And it's like, why aren't we focusing that same energy on Brandon Williams? Brandon Williams right now is the guy that's causing as much turmoil as possible within this organization. And it really bothers me that Vlade doesn't have the fucking stones to go out there and tell him to shut the fuck up or get rid of his ass.
Right.
And
I think that's somebody else we need to get off of because look, this team, Vlade built this team. This team is Vlade's team.
There's arguments there that says Brandon Williams built this team and Vlade took the credit for it. But Vlade learned, even if Vlade sat by idly to learn about what to do with that, Vlade learned through that process. But the thing is, Brandon Williams wasn't brought in to be trouble. He was brought in to be an assistant GM. If you're not assisting the GM and you're causing trouble trying to get rid of that said GM, last time I checked, what is that, insubordination? You kind of usually get rid of that guy, right? So the fact that Vivek doesn't have the stones to tell him to shut up and Vlade doesn't have the stones to go to Vivek and say, we need to get rid of this guy, that worries me more than Justin Jackson getting 25 minutes a game or Yogi Ferrell riding the bench while Bogey's missing shots. Kings fans need to refocus that energy, and that's my opinion on that.
And Yeager has the stones, and he kicked him out of practice the other day.
Yep.
Although he did say it was a one-time deal and it was just to show the players that he was sticking up for him and sticking up for the team, but he still did it. And he's got to go. And, you and I talked to somebody the other day who said that this isn't the first time that Williams has been meddling with things.
Right.
That he was part of the reason that Youngman was gone.
Yep.
And I don't know why he would pick on somebody like Pete Youngman, who's been a cornerstone of this team, but for some reason he got a hard on to get rid of Youngman, and he did. So, according to that source, which is a pretty good source, this guy is trouble.
Josh makes a good point. Hard to fire him because there's no evidence.
Yeah, but people get fired. People get fired all the time with no evidence. I mean, it's not like it's a court of law. It's, if the things that they're saying are true, and you got to know that Vlade and Dave Yeager, they know. I mean, if this is coming out and there's got to be some truth to it, and if they feel there's enough truth to it, they don't need to have evidence. They don't need to create a case. They just need to get rid of the guy.
Yeah, but I could see, and I hate to even suggest that this could happen, but I could totally see it happening. I can see some sort of lawsuit or racial connotation coming from it if they don't have viable sources. Like, that's just the America and the businesses that, we're around at this point. I think that you kind of got to bite your tongue, right? You got to wait. You got to tell him, look, you need to shut up. You need to behave. And you let him know that he's on an extremely short list. And the second he does anything to act up, that's when you drop the hammer on him, because then you have reason to do so. You have that viable option that says, look, we warned him. He's gone now. But the problem is, I don't know that Vivek has the wherewithal or the guts to do that. And that's what worries me more than anything.
And I think that's the problem right there. It's not having evidence. I think that Vivek doesn't have the stones. I don't think Vladdy has the stones just to get rid of this guy.
Right.
And again, we don't know what the evidence is. We don't know whether there's evidence or not. The people inside know what's going on. And if he really was the one that started those rumors, if he really was the one that led the way for them to get rid of somebody like Pete Youngman, he's got to go. He's just got to. And I don't care. It's sports. Guys get fired all the time for no reason. Just get rid of his ass.
Pick 6 for Giants on first play of the game. Real quick, before we get to NBA talk and before we get to Tony Pacheco, I wanted to double back to Major League Baseball because we got talking so much about the A's ballpark and whatnot that I forgot to mention this. Last week we talked about the Hall of Fame and we talked about the ins and outs and and what's going on with that, and we talked about Barry Bonds and how he should be in. And I got a fun fact, obviously, that come out. They always seem to come out after the show. But Hall of Famer Jeff Bagwell finished his career with 449 home runs.
Oh, I saw this one.
Vladimir Guerrero finished with 449 home runs. Barry Bonds finished his career with a home run off of 449 different pitchers, which is insane to me. But no, the reason why I brought up Major League Baseball in the Hall of Fame again is Major League Baseball announced this week that they have a new partnership with MGM Resorts in Vegas for gambling. And they're going to start allowing gambling to take place in Vegas and in Atlantic City on Major League Baseball games. So it led me to question if Major League Baseball is now condoning gambling, and that opens up the door for so much possibility of different things happening. Does this give Pete Rose a leg to stand on when it comes to getting him in the Hall of Fame? I don't know that it's going to necessarily change the vote of some of the change the vote of some of the older Hall of Fame voters, but obviously we know that the new crop of voters is starting to come in. But could there be some kind of lawsuit or some kind of basis for him to stand on now that Major League Baseball is allowing gambling?
Well, I haven't seen the rules that they're going to have, but I think the thing, and again, it's what has been holding Pete out, is he bet on his own team. And again, that part of it is he bet on his own team, but there are other times that he didn't bet on his own team. And that's when he knew that they were going to lose, or he felt that they were going to lose. And that's the whole crux of the problem that Major League Baseball has with players gambling on their own team. So, it gives them a little bit of a leg to stand on, but I can almost guarantee there's going to still be words in the collective bargaining agreement or wherever it is that players won't be allowed to gamble, and that's what's going to keep Pete Rose out. And unfortunately, it's going to keep him out until he's passed away, and then they'll bring him in and do it posthumously. And just the wrong way to do it. So yes, I think he should be in. I don't think he's going to, just because of his behavior.
True or false? Pete Rose has more legs to stand on than you do.
I think we're even on that.
Is he missing a leg?
No.
Okay, I was going to say no, he's not. Okay, I just wanted to bring that up. I forgot to mention it earlier. Real quick, we're going to hear from Tony Pacheco.
And James, why are you talking Trump and trying to scare us?
I don't know.
Are you listening to 2 podcasts?
I'm going to announce a new partnership with Antonio Pacheco from Folsom Lake Ford. Tony has been my go-to sales guy for a number of years, and he's come on board to bring the awesome sales buying experience to each and every one of you. All of his information is on our website at sportstalk916.com, but if you're in a hurry and you're looking for a new car, give him a call today. Antonio Pacheco, area code 530-218-7069. He will answer all of your questions in regards to the car buying experience, and he is the main guy that I trust in the Sacramento area for all of your car buying needs. Again, Antonio Pacheco, Folsom Lake Ford, 530-218-7069. See, I knew I can reel James back in after you were talking shit about him earlier.
I know, with the peg leg
jokes, and we got him again. Yes. Real quick, you said you wanted to rant on something. Kareem Hunt and Reuben Foster. Foster got released last week. We talked about it. The Redskins went out and picked him up, which is totally hypocritical of Dan Snyder, but it does not surprise me one bit. He decided not to sign Colin Kaepernick because he didn't like the distraction. He made very public and glaring remarks about Ray Rice after his video surfaced, and then he goes out and signs or claims Reuben Foster off of the waiver list. He's now on the commissioner's exempt list. He's forbid from participation in team activities that involve football. He can be in meetings, but that's as far as it goes. On the flip side of that, new video surfaced from TMZ that Kareem Hunt back in February had a very similar issue. He's been released by the Kansas City Chiefs. Apparently, again, like the Ray Rice thing, the NFL came out and said that they tried to get the video. The police and the hotel wouldn't let them have it, so they dropped the case, which I think is total bullshit.
They got caught. Yeah,
they got caught. The Chiefs also apparently said that they requested information on it. They were told they couldn't have it, so they just dropped it because no charges were filed. Kareem Hunt basically just came out and said, I'm sorry, didn't really give much effort into his apology. Chiefs fans are going insane, blaming the NFL, blaming TMZ, trying to get TMZ shut down because they're saying that they should have never released it. It's just a way to keep them out of the Super Bowl. They're taking it on a totally personal level that is ridiculous when it comes to domestic violence. Someone on there blamed Bill Belichick, saying that he somehow got the tape released because the Patriots were scared of the Chiefs. There's a lot going on with this. You got into an argument on Facebook about this, about the Kareem Hunt situation. Josh Zimmerman says Bell coming to the Chiefs this offseason because of this. That could be. The NFL didn't even talk to Kareem Hunt or the girl. The girl tried to press charges. She was shut down. What did you still want to do your rant on this, or have you kind of let this one slide?
I've kind of let it slide. I mean, it wasn't really a rant about Kareem Hunt. It was more about a rant on what happened in terms of hitting a woman. And let me just read this to you because I don't get this. So our buddy Keith Jugginitis posted something about this. And there started to be a little bit of talk about violence towards women. And basically, where'd it go? Come on.
Basically.
They started this. Okay, here we go. That girl was definitely an aggressor. I know if I put my hands on anyone, this is actually a woman saying this. The girl was definitely an aggressor. I know if I put my hands on any man, included. If I put, let's see.
Apparently,
English is second language to other people. Basically, what she's saying is, if I put my hands on a man, I am at risk for getting hands put on me. And that just kind of started it off on you just don't hit a woman. And another couple of people said things like, if a girl hits you first, or they put your hands on you, or if they come closer to you, you have every right to hit the woman. And that's just not true. And especially when you're a 210-pound running back and she's a 95-pound woman and you give her a shoulder tackle, you don't do that. And basically what these people were saying was, there's violence, and one of the commenters said, hey, there's violence everywhere. What you learned as a kid about not hitting women is old news. If she hits you, you have every right to hit her back. In fact, this one guy said he beat up a girl because she was attacking his woman and attacking his car. And I don't care. I don't care. There's no reason to do it. You can restrain her, you can hold her back, but you can't throw her down on the ground. You can't kick her. You can't punch her. You just don't do it. And it's not right. You don't. And the comment I made was, then you call the authorities. If you're in that situation, you call the authorities and let them deal with it. And this one person said, well, people in the middle of those situations don't think about calling the authorities. There were 10 guys there. There were 3 girls there. Somebody had to be smart enough to put their damn cameras away from filming it and call the cops or call security at the hotel. But there's no reason for her to. I don't care if she spat on him. I don't care if she tried to slap him. I don't care if she bum rushed him. I don't care. You don't hit a woman. It just doesn't happen. It's the most cowardice thing you can do as a man, especially when your job is to beat up men and to violently attack other men on a daily basis. You just don't do it. I'm sorry. Does he deserve to be out of the NFL for life? No. Was she wrong? Yes. But the outcome shouldn't have happened. You don't hit a woman. So that's my point.
The way I look at it is, if a woman or a man or someone smaller than you, whatever it is, decides they're going to come to blows with you, whatever, you do enough to stop the attack, and then you, like you said, call the cops. So if she comes up and she's wailing on him and he shoves her away and she falls down, great. You stopped her from wailing on you, and then you're done with it. You don't go after her again. You don't continue to hit. You don't continue. And this goes for guys or girls. It shouldn't be, at least in my opinion, is you do enough to stop the threat, and then you retreat and you call the authorities.
Yeah.
You don't continue to attack. You don't continue to go after. It's just, I don't know. It's ridiculous. One thing I want to do is give kudos to his entourage. They legitimately tried to keep shit from happening. Yeah. And, and in that video, you could see that one of his entourage guys was trying to keep them separated, and Hunt just went full speed, lowered his shoulder into him, which ended up sending him into her and both of them into the wall. So, I get it when you're drinking, when when you're enraged, shit happens, but something's got to give. I mean, it's ridiculous. We're not going to go too deep into this. Those other 10 guys need to realize that their meal ticket was going to do something stupid. They should have locked them down. Yeah, and you know what? I saw something about that, and someone said, well, they didn't want to get kicked out of his entourage or his security detail or whatever. And in my mind, it's, in the moment, he'd probably be pissed. But if 2 of those guys would have grabbed him and slammed him into the ground, or taken him to a room and pinned his ass down to let him leave, hindsight 2020, he probably would have been like, you know what? I appreciate you guys for doing that, because this shit would have got out of hand. And, everyone was like, oh, well, they didn't want to piss him off because they may have gotten fired. yeah, you know what? It probably would have been better off because now he's fired and he may
Their
not
meal
need
ticket is
entourage.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So completely ridiculous. Like you said, I don't think he deserves to be out of the league. One thing that just came up on TMZ just now is someone is offering to work with Kareem Hunt. And if he does this, he's a fucking retard. Ray Rice apparently has reached out to him and offered his assistance in the situation. If you want to rid yourself of this and look at this as a one-off and hopefully get your life back in order, you definitely don't coordinate with Ray Rice and trying to fix this situation. I'll just go ahead and put that out there right now. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on. Let's do this.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm not here to get back in the presidential race. But you never know. I could be swayed. America needs me. Okay, now it's time for the most luxurious, amazing, incredible picks in the world. Mine. I'll take the Ravens to top the Bengals, even though that doesn't make sense because cats eat birds. I'll also take the Rams to beat the Seahawks, but who really cares? My upset pick is the Eagles to beat the Giants. My wild card is the Bills to sink the Dolphins.
All right, boys, you heard his picks. Now it's your turn. Greg B, who you got? All right, let's start off with this. Yeah, that'd be like Michael Vick trying to offer to dog sit. Exactly, TJ. For the week, we are looking at this is going to be skewed. I got to do math. Fuck. First place, TJ is at 120 games correct. That's minus the 4 from today so far. Second place, James Hines at 110. Greg Verosa, third place at 105. Myself at 101, and then my mom's at 76.
She's having a good day today.
Yeah, she's got 4. TJ's got 4. James has 2. We both have 1. Everybody took the Saints on Thursday Night Football to kill the Cowboys. That obviously didn't work. Let's go through the rest of the week this week so we can go ahead and see how we stack up. Right now, Jacksonville and Indianapolis are tied 0-0 in the first quarter. I have the Colts in the win this week. I was going to say an upset, but I forgot the Jaguars aren't that good anymore. So I have the Colts winning this game.
Yeah, me too. I have the Colts.
This game I have an upset. I have the Houston Texans at home on an 8-game winning streak, losing to the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are currently losing 3-0.
No wonder you suck at picks so bad.
Okay. So, if I remember like 2 weeks ago, I went undefeated and you didn't. So
yeah, but the week before that, I lost 2 games and you lost like 8. So
it doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Every week is a new week.
Exactly.
I have the Dolphins beating the Bills.
I have the Bills over the Dolphins.
Oh, no wonder you suck at picks. You're gonna go with fuck you.
Okay, James.
You have one leg. Shut up. Cardinals at the Packers.
Your wife's having somebody else's baby.
That's all right. She's getting paid.
I have the Packers.
That makes me sound really bad. It's no.
I know. But it's true.
I have the Cardinals. No, I'm just kidding. I have the Packers as well. This one so far is a shocker. Tampa Bay right now is up 10-0 on the Carolina Panthers at home. The Bucks, who can't even sell tickets or giving away tickets to games, are currently winning 10-0. I have the Panthers to win this game, so hopefully they come back.
So do I.
The Ravens at the Falcons. Who do you got?
Oh, I had the Falcons. So
do I. Losing that game.
Yep.
The Bears are at the Giants.
I had the Bears, of course.
Giants are up 7-0. I have the Bears also. Bengals host the Broncos.
I had the Broncos.
I have the Bengals. The Rams are at the Lions.
I have the Rams.
So do I. How are they with 5:33 left in the first quarter still 0-0?
I don't know.
Insane. I have the Titans over the Jets.
Yep.
The Chiefs over the Raiders.
I have the Raiders. No, I don't. I'm with the Chiefs.
The 49ers go to Seattle.
This is one of those picks that I just can't stand making, but yeah, I want the Niners to tank, so I got the Seahawks.
Yeah, I have the Seahawks also. I have the Patriots over the Vikings at home.
Yep.
I have the Bolts over the Steelers on the road.
Yep.
And I have the Eagles at home over the Redskins.
Yep.
All right, there you go. Let's see if there's anything else we wanted to cover this week. We talked about Kareem Hunt. We talked about that. We talked about that.
The only other thing that I want to talk about, and I won't spend a lot of time on it, is, are you kidding me about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Charlie Brown? Are you kidding me?
Go ahead.
Are you that sensitive that you're going to look at two cartoons to be offended over? Come on. It's Charlie Brown. It's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's not about racism. It's not about bullying. It's not about sexism. I heard for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, I heard sexism, racism, and bullying. It's a fucking cartoon about a deer with a light for a nose. Are you kidding me? Hell, maybe the reindeer are offended because you're talking about a freak reindeer. I don't know. It's just, this world sucks. It sucks. Okay, I'm done. I didn't want to go any further than that.
I say he's an idiot.
Thanks.
It's hilarious. Yeah, I saw that too. It's one of those things. People are reaching for something to be offended by these days.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There's one other one. There's a song.
Yeah. Baby's right?
Yeah. That's talked about as a date rape song.
So I haven't heard this one. I've heard the song. I haven't heard the argument.
So basically what they're saying is there's a couple of lines, and I actually looked at I actually have the lyrics pulled up because I was going to talk about this. So come on.
This is where we go off the rails, by the way.
Yeah, right. So there's a couple of lines here that talk about, tell me what's in the drink that you're serving me. And the guy says no. She's trying to leave, and he's trying every way he can to get her to stay. She's saying that my father's going to be pacing the floor waiting for me. And he's like, well, listen to the fireplace. It's romantic. And then she talks about what will the neighbors think if they see me walking out the door, basically doing the walk of shame. Apparently these two work together. So what are they going to talk about at work? And then it gets back into have another drink, and come on, and my point is, how many college students have tried that same thing? I'm leaving. Right. No, you're not. Just have another drink. Come on.
Okay, so let's continue this real quick here. Josh Zimmerman says, what about Christmas Story being dropped because of the bullying scene?
I didn't see that.
I'm okay with that. That movie fucking sucks. I can't stand A Christmas Story. And you can all hate me all you want. I can't stand that movie.
That has the greatest prop in the history of the
I don't mind the lamp. I like the lamp. I like the Red Ryder BB gun. I like all the little intangibles of it.
What about the tongue on the pole?
I don't like that because that happened to me once. But no, fuck that movie. I hate that movie.
No.
Fucking hate it. Can't stand it. You could not. Well, you could pay me to watch it, but I will not watch that movie voluntarily.
Great movie.
No, it's not. You know what a great movie is for Christmas? Die Hard.
No, let's don't start. The
director of Die Hard came out last month and said it was a Christmas movie.
It happens at Christmas time.
It is a Christmas
It is not. There's no miracle.
Christmas
There's no Santa Claus.
Christmas does not start until Hans is falling off the building. And then it's like,
come on. There's no way. No way. And I don't know. And bullying happens. So you know what? You just got to deal with it and get over it. Come on.
Yeah. Anyways, so Tim Cardoza hates me now. That's fine. Whatever. I'm just not a fan of. I don't like Miracle on 30. Maybe it's just because they're fucking old. I like faster, upbeat Christmas movies. You know what though? I will say this: if I want a Christmas like nap after eating, you put Miracle on 34th Street or you put A Christmas Story on. Best sleep of my life. So I will give it. It's like watching a Raiders game.
Wow, I'm learning stuff about you all the time.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
We gotta go. Before we go, by the way, after this, we got to get back to the Raiders. I didn't talk about the John Gruden's an idiot thing.
Oh, okay. So what do you think about the Grinch? Are you on board with the Grinch?
I'm okay with the Grinch. I'm not okay with the remake after remake after remake of it.
No. There's only one Grinch, and that's the cartoon.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the Jim Carrey remake. I'm not a big fan of them making another remake of it, although I've heard that it was
right, Tim? I agree with you.
You know what? Christmas National Lampoons is one of the best. I'll tell you what, since apparently I'm fucking wrong about the Christmas Story.
Watch it again.
I will give it a legitimate shot this Christmas whenever it comes on.
Watch it again.
I give you my word, I will have an eggnog with bourbon or Jack, and I will give it a legitimate shot and see what happens. But maybe it's the overzealous mom that pisses me off in that movie. There's something about that movie that just stands out to me that really irks me.
So we need to sit down. Do we need to sit down and have a little therapy session on why you don't like what issues you have that don't allow you to like Christmas movies?
I like Christmas movies. Like I like Christmas with the Cranks. I thought that was a good one. And
I don't even know what that is.
No, that one wasn't that good, really. But yeah, I don't know. I'll give it a shot. I will give it a legitimate opportunity. I don't think I'm going to get to the point of liking it, but
tolerating it.
I will give it a chance to not hate it. How about that?
There you go. All right.
And according to Tim Cardoza, he hates the other Greg. I don't know who that is. I only have one G in my name, so he's talking about the third Greg of the show, I guess. Anyways, let's go back real quick before we go.
It was his birthday yesterday, so be nice to him.
No, that's fine. I won't. What the fuck? Why won't it let me do this?
So happy birthday, Tim. Sorry, I didn't get to you yesterday, but happy birthday, man.
Well, I want to get back to the Raiders' failure via John Gruden. Because story came out this week going back to the Khalil Mack trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
And report came out that the 49ers offered a second first-round pick on top of what the Bears offered for Khalil Mack. And Gruden was concerned with two things. One, Jimmy Garoppolo leading the Niners to the playoffs and it not being a good pick. And two, keeping Khalil Mack in the Bay Area because he's worried about it would piss off Raider fans that he was still in the Bay. So they decided to go with the Bears pick. As of right now, so let me just read this, right? The Bears have had Mack all season and have been a force to reckon with because of it. The Cowboys, when they traded Amari Cooper there, were 3-4, making it look as if they might get a top 10 pick for him. It's not looking that now. They now lead the East at 7-5, and they're going to be a playoff team. So here are the Raiders' picks from these trades, according to Tankathon, and this is before the Cowboys won Thursday night. Round 1, pick 3. That's where the Raiders are currently at because they decided they wanted to beat Arizona last week for whatever god-awful reason. As of last week, Dallas's pick, and it's going to get better, is at 22, and the Chicago pick right now is at 26. If they would have traded with San Francisco and Garoppolo still got hurt, they would have had the number 1 pick and the number 3 pick based on record. And they might have kept Cooper, they might have not, but it just goes to show that John Gruden is slowly driving this team into the ground, and it's going to be only a matter of time before Derek Carr's gone. This team is not going to be the same team that was a Super Bowl contender last season before Derek Carr got hurt.
They aren't now. I mean, they already aren't.
Well, they're going to be even worse. They're going to be farther off because they're not going to have a franchise quarterback next season. So Bruce Bochy wanted to chime in.
I say he's an idiot.
And Raider fans also.
Oh, no! We suck again!
So
I haven't heard that one in a while.
yeah, that one's been on there for a bit, but poor Raider fans. I'm sorry. I'm not, but I'm sorry. Let's see. Josh Zimmerman, Die Hard at least. Yeah, we already talked about how Die Hard's the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
It is not. It is not. It happens at Christmas. It's not a Christmas movie.
Let me look this up real quick here. Hold on. Die Hard Christmas.
God. Oh, and while you're doing that, hold on here.
Here we go. Here's an article. Why Die Hard is the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
Oh God. So while you're doing that, let me I know you don't do college football at all.
No, but the rankings did come out.
The rankings did come out. So it's Alabama against Oklahoma and Clemson versus Notre Dame. So that means Ohio State didn't do enough last night in beating Northwestern by 21 to catapult themselves over Oklahoma. So team that I feel bad for is Georgia because they gave Alabama a good game, but they lost a game earlier in the year, and obviously two wins or two losses doesn't get you in. We were talking about this a little bit last night. I think what they need to do is they need to expand to eight teams.
Agreed.
The Pac-12 wasn't even a thought about participant in this. And I think what you do is you expand to 8 teams. You have the Power 5 conferences. Their conference winner automatically goes. And then you take the next 3 teams that you put in. And then you have an 8-game playoffs. And, division, we've talked about this again before, but the Division 1A or the playoff division or whatever they call it, they have a 16-team playoff tournament. I don't know why Division 1 teams are any different than Division 1A teams in terms of wanting their kids to stay in school longer and be in class. So you take the 8 teams, the Power 5 conferences, the next 3, and you make Notre Dame get into a conference so that they earn it in the right way. That's the way I fix college football.
Well, there you have it, right from the horse's mouth, the one-legged horse.
Hey, now.
And one final thing, guys. We didn't talk about this. I gotta remember to. It's hard because you're here, and I always fucking forget that you should have a commercial play as well. Greg threw a hissy fit this morning about not.
It wasn't a hissy fit.
Not giving him props on the internet about needing to make sure that he's getting credit for helping us find a house and yeah. I said Albert was great and Greg isn't or whatever. I do want to give you a shout out or at least props for dealing with our situation here. My wife is very particular and very set in her ways, and although she was right, we kind of had to deal with a lot of issues when it came to finding the proper house. You did a great job coordinating those, making sure that we were seeing the houses we wanted to see, setting up appointments. We were 3 days in a row traveling deep into the Rancho Cordova area trying to find the right house. When it finally push came to shove, we submitted an offer. Was that Monday? No. What day was that? Okay. Tuesday, Thursday, maybe.
I don't remember.
One of the days. It was Thursday. No.
Yeah, it was Thursday because they accepted it the same day. So yeah.
Thursday at
we went and saw the house Wednesday night, and we submitted the offer Thursday.
Late afternoon or late morning, early afternoon, right around noon. An offer went in.
And this is how good of a realtor I am. I tried to talk you out of seeing the house that you eventually wanted to or put an offer in on, because for I don't know what reason it was. I just thought that we were going to keep going over and over again. And I thought your wife was going to find something wrong with every house we saw. And she stuck to her guns and talked me off of, not really talked me off.
But we saw it. We got it. We put the offer in on at like noon. Your offer was written very well, clearly, because it was accepted by 3, and we're in the process of trying to close before Christmas. So if you guys want a personalized experience like that, and, the ability to find the right house and get the right offer in and make the right choice, call that guy, Greg Veroza. He's with Keller Williams Realty, and his number's there on the screen, 916-223-6688. He'll help you out. He'll find you the right house. He'll look at all of them with you, and hopefully you can get into your forever home soon. Yeah. Also, there's going to be one on the market. Sports Talk 916 Studios will be for sale soon. So if you're looking into
we need to put a little plaque in there, former home,
like a perma plaque, former home of Sports Talk 916.
Yeah, like Elvis lived here, or Elvis slept here, or George Washington slept here. It's former studio of Sports Talk 916.
The number one Sacramento podcast at 9 a.m. ish on Sunday mornings.
Exactly.
Resided here. Perfect.
The podcast that every professional sports team listens to, and every major newspaper and media member, because we're quoted so much.
Right, exactly. Our ideas are broadcast everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, for Greg Veroza, I am Greg Bull. This was episode 263. We will see you all next week.
Good night.